The most difficulty I had during this time was probably the transition from coming back home from college.
I remember that last week of school when all of us were so panicked. We all have to return home unwillingly and leave our school life behind.
I study abroad in Spain and I came back to Singapore during the pandemic crisis because that's where my home is.
I'm living in Spain right now, but I am just right now in Italy for the summer holidays.
Really took away our freshman year as if it didn't happen.
We switched to online schooling, which was really difficult for everyone I have talked to about it.
It just made studying a lot harder.
I have class from like 11 p.m. to 6 in the morning, which basically ruined my sleeping schedule. So my family and I were like talking about where I should study next semester.
And so while I was kind of adjusting to Guam's time zone, I still had to be mindful of, the time back in California in regards to like deadlines for assignments or projects.
I think my grades did reflect that, where they weren't as high as they used to be.
I have to talk to the dean about dropping the semester. It was really like chaotic and pretty stressful.
You're still expected to do your work, but then trying to find your personal motivation through all of this and trying to manage different people in different time zones, making sure everyone's working together well and understands what everyone else is doing is really important.
For 2 months, I didn't really leave my room. This was, I would say overall, definitely a negative impact on my life. Just being told to kind of revert to what I had been doing for the past 18 years growing up here and kind of just continue my life, but from home.
Ever since my university shut down and switched to remote learning, that caused a lot of students to cancel their housing contracts and essentially move back home. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that because at that point of time, India, they weren't letting flights into their country. Even now they aren't, but whatever.
I spent about a month and a half alone in an apartment, whereas I was used to staying in a residence or with my family, so that 1 month and a half really did teach me how to live on my own, because I had to cook for myself, clean for myself, do all the grocery shopping.
I started being independent and, I don't know, figure out things by myself.
Yeah, I stayed there alone in my dorm room. There were around 5 people in my dorm building who were with me. It was pretty lonely.
Things got really like lonely at times, and honestly, like the whole academic pressure with like school going on and the whole like stress with like coronavirus related stuff and just like everything going on all at once, like in the world, mixed with the lack of like basic human interaction, given that my only human interaction on campus at that point was just me talking to like housing and dining workers, or I don't know, like rarely students that I found like walking around. All of those combined, they kind of like had a mental toll on me.
I did have friends here in Boston, but when they went back home, it was weird because now, I mean, even though you're not physically with that person, like with any of your friends, you still have that sense of like, oh, like he's there, she's there. I don't know, like you know where like vaguely they would be, but after they went back home, it felt more distant.
So I know a lot of people that quit college. I know people that had to do a pause on their education and because they didn't have money.
This turned into a positive thing through having a lot of time to think about everything going on in my life, in the world.
I think it was just a matter of, keeping in touch with my professors and, just putting in the extra effort.
I'm home, I have a roof over my head.
My other siblings that are also studying abroad, It's most likely the last time since growing up together that we have been this long in the same household again.
I really felt like I was 14 again. So it's really meaningful for the relationships you have with your parents and your siblings especially, because as I was far away, obviously the relationship is just on FaceTime.
I get to spend time with my families and my Thai friends more than ever, which is like amazing.
Being alone for so long and just focusing on like what's in front of me.
I feel like after spending some time, back at home, I definitely forgot how comforting and just like healing it can be to be in a familiar environment again.
I've realized that taking time for yourself is definitely something that you get to do even if you don't prioritize as much because of the time that we have now, just spending at home.
It made me realize that the phrase time is precious is more accurate than ever.
It's like humbled me in a way. It's taught me the importance of not taking things for granted.
So I had to have classes online, me and my other two sisters. So I think the worst thing that happened to me was that we had to fight for the internet connection.